There's current city person with Comrade Colin Maidi, our president. Yes!
Amanda! 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 Long live the SASCO Spirit Zuma, long live!
Long live!
Long live the YCL of Ruth First, long live!
Long live!
Long live the ANCYL of Peter Mukaba, long live!
Long live!
Long live the SACP of Malume Moses Kotane, long live!
Long live!
Long live Kosato of President Elisha Baraya, long live!
Long live!
Long live the ANC of President Oartambo, long live!
Long live!
Amandla!
Awethu!
Forward to free education, forward!
Forward!
Forward to economic freedom, forward!
Forward!
Forward to economic freedom, forward!
Forward!
Forward to expropriation of land without compensation, forward!
Forward!
Forward to expropriation of land without compensation, forward!
Forward!
Forward to expropriation of land without compensation, forward!
Forward!
Forward with struggles of young people, forward!
Forward!
Forward with struggles of young people, forward!
Forward!
Forward with struggles of young people, forward!
Forward!
Thank you very much, Program Director. The leadership of the South African Communist Party, led here today by Comrade Usolima Paile, who I must thank Comrade Shami, the cleansing of Nazareth. I saw Comrade Soli saying that Viva President Maine, Viva. Very nice. We must thank Nazareth Comrade. It brought us to life. The leadership of the Young Communist League, led here by Comrade Tuhabu and my sister Comrade Tlangi. I refer to Comrade Tlangi, my sister, because we grew up together in the student movement. And we have since become more than comrades. We are now sisters. Before I'm accused of playing for both teams, we're brother and sister. Comrades, let me extend a sincere thank you to the leadership of the Young Communist League in this campus for inviting me to come and exchange ideas with young people in general, or young communists in particular, and young students in general, on this scary yet exciting revolution or industrial revolution that is unfolding in front of us. This revolution, comrades, has without any doubt started affecting many facets of our lives. Now, I've prepared a presentation which I will leave with the leadership of the branch. Because of time, I will just skim through it such that we get a sense of what this thing is and what it might mean to all of us. I have no doubt, comrades, that as we meet here today to discuss this scary and yet exciting development that is going through, that the country and the world is going through, one of the things which are of great interest to me, Comrade Soli, is that what will this over-reliance on machine mean to us, the revolutionary class, the working class? Will we still be regarded as revolutionary and able to bring down capitalism to its knees when we are no longer able to withdraw our labor power because machines will be the ones producing at that particular point of time? It is of great interest for me as to how will we, as SASCO, as the Young Communist League, continue to mobilize students on campus, or at least we need to answer whether a strike will still be the most effective way of fighting management when most students will be online students. I mean, we'll be striking for who? I'll be at home. If you say let's strike, who will be striking? So this conversation we are having today, comrades, must also assist us answer contemporary debates one of which was I was listening to on radio this morning, the issue of moving Parliament to Cape Town and from Cape Town to Pretoria. And one of the reasons is that it is cost. Then the question comes, when we have this fourth industrial revolution, when we are going to have machines and all forms of technologies that will allow a person in Cape Town to watch us as we sit here today, what cost are you going to carry when you can tell a DG and his senior management to sit in the office and visualize the people in Parliament visualize them, and they interact and they account? Those are some of the impacts of the fourth industrial revolution. Where I'm employed now, I speak to my contemporary in Britain every 2 weeks, Comrade Tangi, who are able to edit things on each other's computers every time when we speak. I've never met the fellow, but we have since become friends, and I've never flown to Britain to meet him. So if you are saying, these are some of the things which the fourth industrial revolution will bring to us, comrades. So as we discuss these things, there are many changes. I mean, you'll go to government departments, Comrade Tlami would know, as a public servant, one of the biggest costs which we carry in government are travel costs to meetings. Will you still carry those costs when the fourth industrial revolution is in full swing? So as students, it is some of the things we must start interrogating and dealing with thoroughly, comrades. I am also excited, comrades, that we meet here on the eve of Africa Day to discuss the fourth industrial revolution. To me, this is important because for many centuries, Africa has been regarded as the dark continent, which is mainly characterized by backwardness. And the first 3 industrial revolutions in many ways bypassed Africa. So it is exciting that students, Comrade Soli, in a university in Africa, have said and stood up today and said, let us discuss this theme of the fourth industrial revolution such that this one does not bypass us like the first 3 industrial revolutions. It is extremely exciting. We must encourage you, comrades, and we must thank you for that. In fact, in my view, we are responding to the profound sentiment of Comrade Pixley Gaseme in 1906 when he said, I'm an African and I set my pride in my race over against the public opinion. Men have tried to compare races on the basis of some equality. Indeed, he was correct. And the Young Communist League in TUT Soshanguve is hitting this call today, comrades. We are discussing the fourth industrial revolution and what it means to Africa, because it will not affect Africa the same way in which it has affected Europe and the same way in which it will affect Asia and any other parts of the world. In fact, scholars of the fourth industrial revolution or experts of artificial intelligence like Professor Chilidzi Murwala have already made some criticism of the fourth industrial revolution. Comrade Chilidzi has consistently said that this revolution, if we do not interrogate it, if we do not interact with it as young people, it has a possibility of disadvantaging Africans. He writes many articles dealing with this issue of saying that it is a time where we need a new type of a cadre. That type of a cadre will be a cadre that is a scholar in science, engineering, and technology, such that he has got the capabilities of disrupting the discrimination that will be brought about to us by the fourth industrial revolution. So this is very important, comrades. Comrades, this revolution that is unfolding in front of us has brought serious anxiety amongst the people of the world and serious excitement. Now, these things are the manner in which institutions respond to this, or individuals respond to this fourth industrial revolution, is not yet cleared out. But one of the scholars who actively writes about the fourth industrial revolution, Utlas Schwab, who also has a book on it, makes a very clear statement which captures the mood, the feelings of almost all citizens of the world on the fourth industrial revolution. The fellow says, we do not yet know just how it will unfold, but one thing is clear. The response to it must be integrated and comprehensive, involving all stakeholders of the global polity from the public and private sector to academia and civil society. So as we speak about this fourth industrial revolution, it must not be a revolution that only ends or talks that only ends in lecture rooms. We must be able to take it home to the rural masses of our people and tell them how it is going to affect them. It must not be like the many theses which are produced by comrades and they remain in libraries and do not reach our people to empower them such that they change the world we live in. What is this fourth industrial revolution and why are we saying it is the fourth, comrades? According to how society has developed, we have had three industrial revolutions. I know that there are other scholars that dispute that, but there seems to be general consensus that the first industrial revolution is the one that took place in the 1700s. And as Marxists continuously, comrades, so they say that we must never divorce that industrial revolution from the maturing of British capitalism. That's what they say to us. What did that revolution do, or what did that era achieve? It saw the issue of introducing manual labor, which saw the replacement of static agricultural production with steam and water power. The process even changed the manner in which society was organized and demanded new methods of survival. The second industrial revolution, comrades, took place in the 19th century up until it was disrupted by the First World War. This industrial revolution, comrades, accounts for how society is organized today. It is that revolution that brought the importance or elevated the importance of infrastructure for one to be able to move from one country to another. It is that revolution that saw the first set of houses electrified. So if this thing was happening in the 19th century, comrades, for you to see that that revolution bypassed South Africa, it was only in 1994 when black communities were starting to speak the issue of electrifying their houses. Those of us who were born before 1994 do have an experience of using a candle as a source of light. So it shows that that revolution bypassed us, and we cannot allow this one to bypass us, comrades. Comrades, that revolution also saw developments of things like Henry Ford setting up plants to build cars, which we know at Ford. The third industrial revolution is something that happens in the late 1960s. In the main, it is about telecommunication and ICT. When the internet comes into place, phones and many other things. And again, comrades, for you to see that that revolution did not fully benefit Africa as a continent and South Africa in particular, is that by 1992 already, there were still people who were using telegram in South Africa. That was an old method of communicating. Other countries were already using cell phones. Other countries, this thing continues to disadvantage us even to this day, comrade Clark. When iPhone comes out, iPhone 7 comes out in America 9 months before it arrives in South Africa. By the time it arrives in South Africa, it's no longer in fashion. That shows that this industrial were trailing behind. And it shows the importance of this discussion that we are having today. We must find ways of disrupting the discrimination that the previous industrial revolutions have brought to Africa as a continent and South Africa as a country. That lies with us, comrades, and no one else can do that with us. Of course, comrades, society is in a constant state of motion. Everything is moving. Society is always moving. And the moving of society has necessitated what then we have today as the fourth industrial revolution. Because it at its infant stage, at its beginning, there seems to be no clear definition among scholars as to what does this fourth industrial revolution mean. But Klaus Schwab, again, who also writes a lot on this thing, argues that it is a fusion of technology which cuts across different facets of life, including the physical, biological, and digital spheres of life. The era will be characterized by artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, and driverless cars. This brief definition is scary, comrades. This thing says to us, Comrade Tangi, we might find new ways of conceiving without interacting with different people. It's scary, Macom. This thing says to us, we're going to have driverless cars. Yeah, we're just going to move each other and you see you moving. So that's how we're going, comrades, according to this fourth industrial revolution. So as we deal with it, These are some of the things that we must consider. And you know that as a country, with its shortcomings, but the path which we are in now is defined in the National Development Plan of 20. It's a Comrade Thabang Makwetla calls it proper. He says it's a vision, it's not a plan. That's what Comrade Thabang Makwetla calls it. So if you say, what do you want to achieve, or what society do you want to have in 2030? That society speaks about reducing unemployment. And one of those goals of reducing unemployment is already under siege with the introduction of this fourth industrial revolution. Pick and Pay is already speaking of retrenching workers that will be replaced by automated cashiers. You will just go there and pass, something will capture all the barcodes there, price them, you place your credit card, you pay, you leave. It means people who are cashiers are likely to lose jobs. Different companies in South Africa have started, they are already commissioning what we call intelligent mining. They are saying that they are bringing robots to mine. In South Africa, to mine, it is extremely costly. Workers have too many rights. So if you want to do mining, you must mine with robots. That is where we find ourselves, comrades. So if we are speaking unemployment or reducing unemployment, we must know that with the introduction of that industrial revolution, some of those goals are under threat. And finally, comrades, and this speaks to you directly, because once you come out of university, you are no longer regarded as an unskilled labor. And for a very long time, we've always thought that this industrial revolution will only affect unskilled laborers. Professional bodies like SAICA, the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, is already shaking. It is saying that when this fourth industrial revolution is in full swing, there's going to be new methods of auditing, new methods of preparing financial statements, which will reduce and eliminate human beings. So even CAs and engineers, their lives are under threat. Even many things, even lawyers, as Comrade Klang is correctly putting it, because other companies are already speaking of police stations of the future, where they are saying that you are going to go there, you are going to tell a machine when you make that statement, it will ask you correct questions and test for you whether that thing can go to court to be tested or not. That is what big consulting firms are doing. So these things, comrades, are serious and we need to pay attention to them. But comrades, one thing we must appreciate, all of us, is that this change is inevitable. We can't stand as revolutionaries, as young communists, and moan about this change. At the center of this conversation today, it is to develop strategies to respond to the fourth industrial revolution and ensure that it does not benefit capitalism but benefits humanity. How do we do that, comrades? One of the first things which we must agree on is to say it is important for us to invest in skilling our people in engineering, science, and technology. It is extremely important. It is important, comrades, as we modernize. Once we see, comrades, SASCO struggles evolve from time to time. You know, Comrade Tangi, we now have won the battle of free education. But the reality of the matter is that in South Africa, the university space for first years is not sufficient to accommodate all people who finish grade 12. The leader of the YCL spoke about BTech. He says that 200 people will graduate with a national diploma, and then for BTech they only want 100. It's you, my sister. So from that 100, what happens to the other 100? And I'm arguing very strongly, comrades, to say we must be at the center. SASCO must take the struggle forward now and say we must expand higher education in South Africa. The Department of Higher Education and Training must consider having more online universities. Let's make an example. People are in humanities. How many times some of them don't even go to class, you submit assignments and you pass? Why would you want that person to go to university, spend a lot of money and come and move from Carolina, where I come from, and come to Pretoria? But also, that needs a government, comrade Soul, that will invest in ICT infrastructure in the country. The issue of having what we call Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi or 3G, cannot be an issue reserved for people in cities. In Kowankoa, in Guyana, there must be free Wi-Fi, comrades. This thing is no longer a luxury. It is a need. It is no longer a luxury, it is a need. And that will assist the government cover some of the things which we want to deal with in this thing, comrades. So, comrades, as I said, I will leave the presentation with the chair on some of the things that I propose. But at the center of my message is to say, we need to start mobilizing as young people such that we ensure that we are not adversely affected by the fourth industrial revolution. We need to make sure, because as change happens in society, comrades, change will always happen. At times it happens for the better, at times it happens for the worse. But in many instances, it happens for the worse because it is driven by conscious actions of the ruling class. So if we do not, as young communists, as young revolutionaries, stand up and participate in the space, the fourth industrial revolution will, like the previous three revolutions, in the main, benefit the ruling elite and a few, and disadvantage Africa and South Africa in particular. So for us here, the most important conversation we can have is how do we ensure that the fourth industrial revolution benefits humanity and not capitalism. Amandla.